Becca handed me the ultrasound photo during staff meeting, 12 weeks pregnant, and I smiled for the cameras while my vasectomy scar burned like a brand. The photo was thermal paper, that slick texture, blue-tinted, the way all ultrasounds are. At the bottom, typed in that medical font, Baby Mitchell, 12 weeks. Everyone in the conference room applauded, 45 staff members. Our media director, Ryan Blake, was live streaming the whole thing. Every leadership meeting goes out to our congregation, 2,500 families who watch us like we're some kind of model. Becca's smile was perfect. She always had that performer's gift, the ability to look radiant under pressure. Worship director for 10 years. She'd led our praise team through building campaigns, through my father's death, through 4 sermon series where I used our marriage as the example of covenant love. "We're so blessed," she said, looking at me with those eyes that used to make me feel like the luckiest man alive. "God's timing is perfect, isn't it, David?" I nodded. I hugged her. I said congratulations. And my vasectomy scar, 5 years healed, burned. The thing is, nobody knew. Not Becca, not our daughter Emma, not the staff. 5 years ago, after Emma left for college, I'd had the procedure done, quietly. We'd agreed we were done having kids. Becca had said she was relieved. Her body had been through enough. So I'd scheduled it during a conference in Dallas, recovered in a hotel room, came home, and never mentioned it. I thought I was doing her a favor, saving her from having to make a permanent choice. Now, holding that ultrasound photo, 12 weeks, I did the math. September. We'd been intimate exactly once in the last 8 months. One night in July, after Emma's engagement party, brief, almost obligatory, the kind of sex that happens when you've been married 23 years and forgotten how to be anything but partners in ministry. 12 weeks ago would have been July, right around then. But I'd had a vasectomy 5 years ago, which meant either the vasectomy had spontaneously reversed, a medical miracle occurring in less than 0.1% of cases, or my wife was pregnant with someone else's child. I excused myself to the restroom, locked the door, stared at my reflection under the fluorescent lights. Lead pastor David Mitchell, 42 years old, 15 years at Riverside Community Church. I'd grown this congregation from 200 to 2,500. I'd preached radical honesty, authentic vulnerability. The strongest foundation is built on truth, not the appearance of perfection. That was my tagline, the thing people quoted back to me, and I was about to prove that my entire marriage was a lie, or prove I was a paranoid fool who didn't trust his wife. I splashed water on my face, went back to the meeting, shook hands, accepted congratulations. Maggie Chen, our church administrator, she'd been with us 20 years, watched me grow up in ministry. She was looking at me too closely. Maggie always saw too much. After the meeting, I went to my office. The church directory photo from 2015 hung on the wall. All 3 of us, me, Becca, Emma, in coordinating blues, perfect family, the image we'd built, the image I'd believed. I sat at my desk, touched the brass nameplate my father had given me when I took over as lead pastor. Douglas Mitchell, founder 1998. My inheritance, my legacy. Built on integrity. Can a pastor who preached radical honesty continue leading when his own marriage was built on lies he didn't see? That question would haunt me for the next 6 weeks. That night, I couldn't sleep. Becca was beside me, breathing softly, one hand curved over her stomach, still flat. 12 weeks, she'd start showing soon. The congregation would celebrate, baby showers, gender reveal parties. Everyone would rally around Pastor and Mrs. Mitchell's unexpected blessing, and I'd be standing there knowing, or suspecting, or going insane trying to figure out which. At 2 a.m., I got up, went to my home office, started searching. Not sure what I was looking for. Just something. Anything that would explain this impossible pregnancy or prove me wrong. Her rehearsal bag was by the door. She always brought it home on Wednesdays. Worship team practiced late. She'd grab dinner after, come home around 10. Normal routine. 10 years of normal routine. I unzipped it. Sheet music. Her iPad. Breath mints. A water bottle. Her planner. The kind with a leather cover, where she wrote everything in that beautiful handwriting of hers. I was about to close the bag when I saw it. A journal, burgundy leather, gold letters embossed on the cover. 10 years. My heart stopped. We'd been married 23 years. Why would she have a journal commemorating 10 years? Unless... I opened it. The leather was soft, the expensive kind that gets better with age. The pages crackled when I turned them. That sound old books make. Cream-colored paper, filled edge to edge with Becca's handwriting. She'd always flourished her capital letters, made them look like calligraphy. And the smell, vanilla, her perfume, embedded in every page. The first entry was dated exactly 10 years ago, September 15th, 2015. Ryan kissed me in the sanctuary today, right there, in front of the altar where David and I got married. I told myself it was wrong. I pushed him away. But David was at that conference in Colorado, again, 3 weeks this month. And Ryan stayed. He always stays. He said, I deserve someone who sees me, not just the pastor's wife. Me. I read it 3 times. Then I kept reading. October 2015. We've been meeting after rehearsals, just talking at first. He listens. Actually listens. David comes home from leadership conferences and tells me about vision casting and strategic planning. Ryan asks me how I'm doing. When's the last time David asked me that? December 2015. I know this is wrong, but it doesn't feel wrong. It feels like I'm finally breathing. David's building his kingdom. Ryan's building us. Entry after entry, year after year. 10 years of this. She'd even written the anniversary of their first kiss. 10 years. That's what the journal title meant. Not our marriage, their affair. I sat there, in the dark of my home office, holding proof that for a decade, a full decade, while I'd been preaching about covenant marriage, about faithfulness, about the sanctity of vows, my wife had been sleeping with my media director, the man I'd hired, the man I'd mentored, the man who sat in staff meetings and live-streamed my sermons and called me pastor, and had been sleeping with my wife for 10 years. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to storm into the bedroom and wake her up and demand answers. But I didn't. Because I'm a pastor. Because I'm trained to de-escalate, to seek counsel, to gather information before acting. Because I'd spent 20 years teaching conflict resolution and I'd forgotten how to just be angry. So I put the journal back in her bag, zipped it carefully, went back to bed, lay there next to my wife, my pregnant wife, and counted the seconds until morning. We built this on a lie. 10 years of Sundays, smiling for the cameras, 10 years of sermon illustrations. Becca and I always, let me tell you what my wife taught me about grace. All of it, every word. Built on a lie I couldn't see. The next morning, Becca made pancakes. Emma called from Dallas Baptist University. She was coming home for fall break in 2 weeks, wanted to plan her spring wedding to her fiancé, Marcus. Sweet Marcus, who proposed with my blessing, who wanted to build a marriage like ours. Like ours, I'd told him. Communication, honesty, putting each other first. God help me. I drove to the church early, avoided everyone, locked myself in my office, stared at the sermon notes on my desk, the marriage series from 2019. Navy blue binder, 200 pages of notes. Personal testimony, Becca and I. The irony tasted like copper in my mouth. My phone buzzed. Becca, love you, so grateful for you. Can't wait to raise this baby together. I stared at the text for a full minute. Then I did something I never thought I'd do. Something that would change everything. I went through her car. Wednesday afternoon. Becca had taken my mom, Sarah, 68, still sharp as a tack, to lunch. They'd be gone for hours. They always were. Mom loved having Becca as a daughter-in-law. Best thing that ever happened to you, David. She'd said that at our wedding. Said it 100 times since. I stood in our garage staring at Becca's silver Honda, 10 years old. She'd insisted on keeping it. I don't need a new car, David. We're a church, not a corporation. Another way she'd been perfect, humble, grounded. I opened the driver's side door. Her car smelled like her. Vanilla and coffee. Cup holders full of receipts. Registration in the glove box. Everything normal, everything fine, except. In the center console, under her sunglasses, was a white plastic card, an RFID access card, the kind we use for church security. Blue logo, worn edges. I picked it up, turned it over, laser etched on the back in tiny letters. Blake, Ryan, media director. My hands started shaking. Ryan's master key card, the kind that accessed every door in the building, including the executive offices, including the sanctuary, including the rooms that were supposed to be locked after hours. Why did Becca have Ryan's key card? I pocketed it, closed the car door, went inside, sat at the kitchen table. From the backyard, I could hear the worship team rehearsing. They practiced on Wednesday evenings. Becca would be leading them in. I checked my watch. 2 hours. She'd be home for dinner first. We'd sit across from each other. I'd ask about her day. She'd ask about mine. We'd pray together. And I'd be holding Ryan's key card in my pocket, wondering how many times they'd used it together. If you've ever found something you wish you could unsee, evidence that changed everything, just type evidence in the comments. Sometimes knowing destroys more than not knowing. But we keep looking anyway. I pulled up my laptop, accessed the church security system. We'd installed it 3 years ago, after some vandalism in the neighborhood. Nothing major, just cameras on the doors, badge readers to track who came and went. I'd never thought to look at the logs before. Why would I? I trusted my staff, trusted my wife. I typed in Ryan's badge number and waited. The screen loaded, line after line of entries, dates, times, locations. I filtered for after-hours access, anything past 10 p.m. The list populated, 87 entries, 87 times. Over the last 5 years, Ryan Blake had used his master key card to enter the church building between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. I scrolled through the locations. Executive floor, sanctuary, conference room, B, the one with the couch. My vision started to narrow, that tunnel vision you get when shock hits your nervous system. I cross-referenced the dates with my calendar, tried to find a pattern, and I found one. Every time I'd been traveling, every conference, every pastor's retreat, every mission trip, Ryan's badge would access the building late at night. And according to the security system, because we tracked all badges, not just his, Becca's badge accessed the building at the exact same times. 11:47 p.m. on March 12th, 2021. Ryan, executive floor. Becca, executive floor. Exit, 2:33 a.m. Both of them, same minute. I checked another date. August 8th, 2022, 11:52 p.m. Ryan and Becca, sanctuary. Exit, 1:15 a.m. Another, October 30th, 2023, 11:41 p.m. Conference room, B, Monday morning. I swabbed Becca's cheek while she slept. I know how that sounds, but I couldn't face telling her. Couldn't watch her eyes when she realized what I was asking. Couldn't handle the conversation we'd have to have if she was innocent and I was destroying our marriage over paranoia. So at 5 a.m., while she was still deep in that first trimester exhaustion sleep, I took the 4th cotton swab, green cap, and gently opened her mouth. Swabbed the inside of her cheek. She stirred but didn't wake. I sealed the tube, filled out the paperwork, marked the envelope, expedited processing, 72 hours. Dropped it in the mailbox on my way to the church. Results would arrive Thursday. 3 days, 72 hours. And then I'd know. Tuesday and Wednesday were the longest days of my life. I preached on Sunday, Philippians 4:8. Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right. The irony wasn't lost on me. Becca led worship. Build my life by passion. The chorus echoed through the sanctuary. I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation. I watched her sing, hands raised, eyes closed, that look of worship that used to move me. Now I wondered if it was real, if any of it had ever been real. Ryan was in the control booth, running the live stream. I could see him through the glass, watching Becca, and I knew by the way he looked at her, the way his hands trembled slightly on the controls when she hit that high note in the bridge. He loved her, or thought he did. For 10 years, he'd been in love with my wife, and I'd been so busy building a church I hadn't noticed. Thursday morning, 9 a.m., I was in my office when the email arrived. Subject line, DNA test results, case $847293. My hands shook so badly I could barely click the link. The PDF loaded, official letterhead, DNA Diagnostic Center, technical language about genetic markers and probability calculations. I scrolled to the bottom. Alleged father, David Mitchell. Alleged mother, Rebecca Mitchell. Probability of paternity, 1% 0. Not unlikely. Not needs further testing. 0.00%. I stared at those numbers. that decimal point and 2 zeros. That's what 23 years of marriage becomes. A statistic. Probability of paternity, none. Probability I'd ever trust again, none. My phone buzzed. Text from Ryan. Pastor, can we meet? Urgent. It's personal. I looked at the message, at the paternity results on my screen. He knew. Somehow, he knew. Ryan knocked on my door at 10 a.m. I'd spent the last hour just sitting, breathing, trying to remember how to be a human being and not just a shell of shock. Come in, I said. He entered, closed the door. He looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes, hair uncombed, hands trembling. Pastor David, He stopped, swallowed. I need to tell you something, and I know it's going to destroy everything. But I can't keep lying. I gestured to the chair across from my desk. Didn't trust myself to speak yet. He sat, pulled out his wallet, and that's when it happened. The moment that changed from suspicion to certainty. A cardboard sleeve fell from his wallet. Hotel room key packet. Austin Marriott downtown. I could see it from across the desk. Ryan scrambled to pick it up, but I was faster. I grabbed it, turned it over. Room 847, 23 different date stamps, spread across 3 years, all with the same magnetic stripe card inside, the same room, over and over. My hands were shaking. How long? David, how long? Ryan's voice broke. 10 years. The room spun. I gripped the desk. 10 years. You've been sleeping with my wife for 10 years. I love her. He said it like that made it okay, like that justified anything. I've loved her since the day I met her, and she loves me. David, I know it's horrible, but that baby... He looked at me with desperate eyes. That baby is mine. She told me yesterday. She was going to tell you, but I said I needed to do it, man to man. I laughed, couldn't help it. It came out harsh, bitter. Man to man, I repeated. You slept with my wife for 10 years, in my church, in the sanctuary where we got married, and now you want to talk man to man. I know I don't deserve... You're right, you don't. I stood up, walked around the desk. Ryan shrank back in his chair. Good, he should be afraid, but I didn't hit him, wanted to. God knows I wanted to. My hands were fists at my sides, but I didn't, because I'm a pastor, because violence isn't the answer, because 20 years of training told me to de-escalate. So instead, I opened my desk drawer, pulled out the paternity test results, placed them in front of him. That baby, I said quietly, is not mine. You already know that. The vasectomy I had 5 years ago made that impossible. Ryan's eyes widened. Wait, but here's what you don't know. I pointed to the results. Read that. Probability of paternity, 0%. That's me. He looked confused. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not yours. I had them test your DNA too, I said. From the coffee cup you left in the staff room Tuesday. Sent it express. Results came back this morning. That was a lie, but I needed to see his face. Ryan went pale. What? You're not the father either, I said. Watched him process it. So, if it's not me, and it's not you, who is it, Ryan? His mouth opened, closed. That's impossible. She said, she lied to you. I leaned forward. For 10 years you shared my wife, and you didn't even know you were sharing her with someone else. Ryan stood up, stumbled backward. No, that's not... She wouldn't. Get out of my office. David, please, get out. He ran. I sat back down, picked up my phone, texted Becca. Come to my office. Now. We need to talk. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, on my way. She arrived 15 minutes later, smiling, glowing with that first trimester radiance everyone talks about. Hey babe, what's up? Your text sounded serious. I didn't say anything, just slid the paternity test results across the desk. She picked them up, read. I watched her face, watched the exact moment she understood. The color drained. The smile died. David, sit down. She sat, hands shaking. The results crumpled in her grip. I had a vasectomy 5 years ago, I said. My voice was calm, clinical, like I was discussing theology. You didn't know. Nobody did. I did it quietly. We'd agreed we were done having kids. I thought I was doing you a favor. David, I can explain. You're 12 weeks pregnant, which means the baby was conceived in July. We were intimate once in July, after Emma's engagement party. Brief, obligatory, the kind of sex that happens when you've forgotten how to be anything but ministry partners. Tears started down her face. She didn't wipe them away. I found your journal, I said. The burgundy one. 10 years. I read every entry, Becca, every single one. Ryan in the sanctuary. Ryan during my conferences. Ryan while I was building what I thought was our ministry. I'm sorry. I pulled security footage. 87 entries over 5 years. Your badge and his. Same time, same location. Always when I was traveling. She was sobbing now, full body shaking. I confronted Ryan this morning. He told me the baby was his, that he was going to be a father, that you two were finally going to be together. Her head snapped up. David, no, I never said. The paternity test says the baby isn't mine. 0%. Impossible. My vasectomy worked perfectly. I paused. Let that sink in. So I'm going to ask you once, Becca, just once. If it's not mine, and Ryan thinks it's his, who's the father? She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again, and whispered, Marcus Webb. The sound that came out of me wasn't quite a laugh, wasn't quite a sob. Marcus, the sound engineer. She nodded. It was one night, 2 months ago, after Ryan told me he couldn't leave his wife, that he'd been stringing me along. I was so angry, so hurt. I went to a bar. Marcus was there. We talked, we drank, She couldn't finish. One night, I repeated. You had a 10-year affair with Ryan, and when that fell apart, you slept with Marcus. And now you're pregnant with his baby. But you let Ryan, you let everyone believe. I didn't know, she was screaming now. I thought it was Ryan's. The timing was close. You thought you could trap him into leaving his wife. She crumpled. Yes, God help me, yes. I stood up, looked at my wife. At 23 years, college sweethearts, built a life, a ministry, a daughter, everything I thought I knew. We built this on a lie, I said. David, please. Get out of my office. I'll call my lawyer. You'll hear from him tomorrow. David, get out. She left. The door closed, and I was alone with the paternity results and the hotel room keys and the wreckage of my marriage. My phone buzzed. Text from Emma. Hey, Dad. Coming home this weekend for fall break. Can't wait to talk about wedding plans. Love you. I stared at the message. My daughter. My sweet, faithful, innocent daughter, who modeled her faith after mine, who believed in love because she'd seen ours, who was planning a wedding because she wanted what Becca and I had, what we'd never actually had. How was I going to tell her? So here's the question I faced. If you were me, would you keep this private, handle it quietly with lawyers and board members, type private, or tell the congregation the truth, all of it, no matter the cost to your career, type truth? What would you do? Because I had 6 days to decide, and 50,000 people would be watching. Whatever you chose, I get it. There's no right answer when every option destroys something. Here's what I decided. Friday morning, emergency elder board meeting. James Whitmore called it. All 12 board members. Tyler Monroe, our church attorney. Closed session, confidential. I told them everything, showed them the journal, the security logs, both paternity tests, mine showing 0%, and the one I'd actually ordered for Ryan after his confession. I'd lied to him about already having it, but I got it rush processed Thursday afternoon. Also 0%. The hotel room keys, the timeline, 10 years of systematic deception. They sat in silence when I finished. 12 people who'd trusted me, trusted Becca, trusted Ryan, who'd held us up as examples. Finally, board chair, Tom Henderson, 62, owned a construction company, spoke. Pastor David, first, I want to say how sorry I am. What's been done to you is unconscionable. I nodded, couldn't speak. Second, I need to be clear about what happens next. This board has 3 decisions to make: your employment status, Rebecca's termination, and Ryan's termination. He looked around the table. Per our bylaws, David, you need to recuse yourself from the room for the votes. I understand. But before you go, do you have anything you want to say? I looked at these 12 people, men and women I'd served alongside for years, who'd prayed with me, laughed with me, built this church with me. I kept my vows, I said quietly. For 23 years, I kept my vows. I prioritized this church, maybe too much. Maybe I was so busy building something for God that I forgot to tend my own garden, but I kept my vows. And I preached honesty, radical honesty, authentic vulnerability. My voice cracked. I preached about a marriage that I believed was real, that I thought was strong. I was wrong, I was blind, but I wasn't lying. I just didn't see. James Whitmore spoke up. The question isn't whether David failed as a husband. Marriages are complex. The question is whether he failed as a pastor, whether he can continue to lead this congregation through his own public failure. I think, said Margaret Torres, one of our longest-serving board members, that this congregation needs to see a leader who tells the truth even when it costs him everything. That's the sermon, isn't it? Not be perfect, but be honest. Tom looked at me. David, we need to discuss freely. Please step out. We'll call you back in 30 minutes. I left, sat in the hallway, listened to muffled voices through the door. 35 minutes later, James opened the door. You can come back in. I sat down, looked at Tom. The board has voted, Tom said. On Rebecca Mitchell's employment, terminated immediately. Moral clause violation. Unanimous. I nodded. On Ryan Blake's employment, terminated immediately. Fraternization policy violation plus moral clause. Unanimous. Another nod. On your employment, Tom paused. 8-4. You retain your position as lead pastor, with conditions. My throat closed. Conditions? You must disclose the situation to the congregation. Not all details, but the fact of the divorce, the reason. That you're choosing transparency over image. When? That's up to you, but it needs to happen before Christmas Eve service. That's our biggest attendance day, 5,000 people. We can't have this leak before then, without your voice framing it. 6 weeks? I had 6 weeks to figure out how to tell my congregation that everything they thought they knew about me was based on a lie I'd believed too. I'll do it, I said. One more thing, James said gently. You need to tell Emma first, before anyone else. She deserves to hear it from you. My daughter. God help me, my daughter. I'll tell her this weekend. She's coming home for fall break. The board meeting adjourned. Tyler Monroe pulled me aside. David, I'll file the divorce papers Monday. Texas is a fault state. With this level of proof, adultery, paternity fraud, you'll get a clean dissolution. She won't contest it. And the baby? Not your legal responsibility. The biological father, Marcus, will need to be notified. He may step up, or she may choose adoption. She'll choose adoption, I said. Knew it in my bones. Becca won't keep a baby that's evidence of her mistakes. Tyler squeezed my shoulder. I'm sorry, David. I really am. Saturday morning, Emma came home. She burst through the door like she always did. All energy and joy and 20-year-old optimism. Hugged me, asked where Mom was. We need to talk, sweetheart. In my office. Her smile faded. Dad? What's wrong? We walked to my home office. I closed the door. Emma sat in the chair across from my desk, the same chair Ryan had sat in 2 days ago, the same chair Becca had sat in, the same chair where I destroyed my family over and over. Emma Grace, I said, used her full name, the name we'd chosen together, Becca and I, 20 years ago. I need to tell you something, and it's going to hurt, and I'm so sorry. Her face went pale. Is Mom okay? The baby? Mom's fine. The baby's fine, but... I took a breath. Your mother and I are getting divorced. Silence. Then, what? She's been having an affair for 10 years with Ryan Blake and the baby. I couldn't say it gently, couldn't soften it. The baby isn't mine. It's not Ryan's either. It's Marcus Webb's. Emma's face went through so many emotions I couldn't track them all. Shock, denial, confusion, anger, grief. But Dad, you guys, her voice broke. You're my example. You taught me what love looks like. I modeled my relationship after yours. I know, sweetheart, and I'm so sorry. I preached a lie I believed was truth. She stood up, paced, stopped. Her eyes were filling with tears. I'm getting married in 6 months. I was going to ask you both to renew your vows at my wedding. To show everyone, to show Marcus, what 25 years of love looks like. The word was hung in the air between us. What do I believe now? She whispered. If your marriage was fake, what's real? How do I know Marcus and I won't end up like this? I stood, moved toward her. She let me hug her. And then she broke, full-body sobs. The kind that shake your whole frame, the kind that come from a foundation cracking. I held my daughter while she cried, while her faith in love shattered, while the example I'd given her, the marriage I'd modeled, revealed itself as fiction. Emma Grace, I said into her hair, the worst part isn't that Mom lied. It's that I showed you something beautiful that never existed. And I can't give you back your innocence. I can't undo the damage. But I can tell you this. I pulled back, made her look at me. Real love exists. It's not perfect. It's not a performance, but it's real. And you and Marcus, you can build something real. Not because you copy what we had, but because you learn from what we didn't. Communication, actual presence, not just partnership, connection. She wiped her eyes. You didn't fail me, Dad. You taught me what real honor looks like. It's this, right here, telling me even though it hurts. That broke me. I sat down, put my head in my hands. I don't know how to do this, I said. I don't know how to stand in that pulpit tomorrow and preach about faithfulness when everyone's going to know soon. When Ryan's probably already telling people his version. Then don't preach about faithfulness, Emma said. Her voice was stronger now. Preach about truth, about choosing honesty over image. That's what you've always taught. That's what you're doing now. I looked at my daughter, 20 years old, wiser than she should have to be. I love you, I said. I love you too, Dad. Sunday morning, week 2 of this nightmare. I stood backstage, could hear the congregation gathering, 2,500 people, plus the live stream, 50,000 viewers tuning in from around the country. Becca wasn't there. She'd resigned Friday, effective immediately. The worship team was confused. I'd told them she was dealing with a family emergency. They'd find out the truth soon enough. Ryan wasn't in the control booth, fired. The assistant media director was running the stream, nervous, uncertain, everything was falling apart. I had my sermon notes, prepared message on Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, safe, comforting, exactly what a congregation in crisis needs. Except I was the crisis, and I could either preach this safe sermon, let them find out through gossip and rumor, frame this whole thing in whispers and speculation, or I could tell the truth. I thought about the board's words, you must disclose before Christmas Eve. I thought about Emma's words, preach about truth. I thought about my father's nameplate on my desk, Douglas Mitchell, founder 1998, built on integrity. I thought about the motif I'd been carrying for 2 weeks. We built this on a lie. The assistant worship leader finished the last song, Build My Life, the same song Becca had led last week. The irony was crushing. I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation. The congregation sat, waiting, trusting, believing I had wisdom for them. I walked onto the stage, stood at the pulpit, looked out at 2,500 faces. Emma was in the 3rd row, right side, where she always sat when she was home. She nodded at me. Go ahead, Dad. I picked up my sermon notes, looked at them. Then I set them aside. Today, I said, my voice echoing through the sanctuary and out to 50,000 viewers, I need to tell you a truth that will disappoint you. The sanctuary went silent. You could hear the air conditioning, someone's phone buzzing, a baby fussing in the back. My marriage is over. Rebecca and I are divorcing. The reason is adultery, on her part, not mine. The affair lasted 10 years. It involved a staff member. That staff member has been terminated. Rebecca has resigned. Gasps, whispers. Someone started crying. I kept going. Some of you are thinking, how could you not know? Others are thinking, this is why pastors shouldn't work so much. Some of you are angry at her, some at me, some at God. I gripped the pulpit. I preached to you about marriage, used my relationship as an example, told you stories about Becca and I learned this, or my wife taught me that. I believed those stories. I believed our marriage was strong. I was wrong. My voice cracked, but I pushed through. So, here's what I'm asking you today. Do you want a pastor who pretends to be perfect? Or do you want one who tells you the truth, even when it destroys him? I reached down, and in that moment, that split-second decision, I did something I hadn't planned. I removed my wedding ring, the platinum band I'd worn for 23 years, engraved inside Proverbs 31, the virtuous wife verse. Ironic now, I twisted it. It stuck on my knuckle for a moment, then slid off. The metal was warm, my body heat lived in it. I could see the white stripe on my finger where it had been, pale compared to the rest of my hand. I held the ring up, made sure everyone could see it. Then I placed it on the pulpit. The sound, metal on wood, echoed through the sanctuary. Clink. Silence. Complete silence. 5,000 people holding their breath. This ring represented a covenant, I said quietly. But covenants require two people keeping promises. I kept mine. She didn't. Tears were running down my face now. I didn't wipe them away. I'm removing this not because I failed, but because she did. And I won't wear a symbol of something that wasn't real. I looked out at the congregation, at Emma, at the empty seat where Becca should have been standing. I'm not resigning, I said. I'm asking you to decide. Can a broken man still lead? Can someone who preached truth while living a lie he didn't know existed, can he still stand in this pulpit? I paused. The elder board voted to keep me, 8-4. But I'm not a dictator. I'm your pastor. So I'm asking, do you want me to stay? The silence stretched. 10 seconds, 20, 30. Then someone in the back started clapping. Then another person. Then a whole section stood up, applauding. Not everyone. I could see people shaking their heads, people crying, people walking out. But most of them stood, most of them clapped. And Emma, my daughter, my girl, she was sobbing and clapping at the same time. I stood there, ringless, broken, honest, for the first time in my ministry. We built this on a lie, but maybe, just maybe, we could rebuild it on truth. That Sunday afternoon, after the service, after I'd stood in the lobby and shaken hands with people who didn't know whether to hug me or avoid eye contact, I went home. Emma was there. She'd made coffee, strong, the way I liked it. The live stream comments are divided, she said carefully. Some people are calling you brave. Others are saying you should have handled it privately. A few are saying Mom's the victim because you work too much. I laughed, bitter. Of course they are. Dad. Emma sat beside me on the couch. You did the right thing, even if it doesn't feel like it yet. My phone buzzed. Tyler Monroe, the attorney. I need to come over, he said. Bring paperwork. Is now okay? Yeah, come. He arrived 20 minutes later. Briefcase. Tie loosened. The look of a man who'd spent his Sunday afternoon working. Divorce papers, Tyler said, spreading documents across my coffee table. Texas fault state, adultery clause. With the evidence you have, the journal, the security footage, both paternity tests, this is open and shut. She won't contest. What about the baby? That's more complicated. Tyler pulled out another folder. Marcus Webb, 29, married. His wife is infertile. They've been trying for 3 years, multiple rounds of IVF. I spoke with him this morning. You what? He called me. Said he needed legal advice. Wanted to know his options. Tyler looked at me. David, he wants to take responsibility. He and his wife want to adopt the baby. I stared. Adopt. Open adoption. Becca would maintain contact, photos, updates, but Marcus and his wife would raise the child. He's horrified by what happened. Says he was drunk, stupid, but the baby's innocent. His words, a child shouldn't pay for adult mistakes. Something in my chest loosened. That's actually decent of him. More than decent. Most men would run. Tyler gathered the papers. I need your signature on 14 pages. Then I'll file Monday morning. The process takes 60 days minimum in Texas, but with no contest, you'll be divorced by Christmas. I picked up the pen, stared at the first page. Petition for divorce. Mitchell v. Mitchell. 23 years, reduced to verses, I signed. Monday morning, the church was chaos. Ryan had already started telling his version, sent a mass email to half the staff Sunday night before I could stop him. Said I was vindictive, that he and Becca loved each other, that I'd driven her away with my workaholism, that the baby was his and I was trying to steal it out of spite. Lies. All lies. But they spread fast. By noon, 3 staff members had resigned in solidarity with Ryan. 7 others came to my office to say they supported me. The rest were keeping their heads down, waiting to see which way the wind blew. Maggie Chen sat across from my desk. "We need damage control. The narrative's getting away from us." "Let it," I said, exhausted. "People will believe what they want. I told the truth. That's all I can do." "David!" "Maggie, I stood up there and took off my ring. I told 2,500 people my wife had a 10-year affair. I have nothing left to hide." She studied me. "You're free, aren't you?" "What?" "For the first time in maybe your whole ministry, you're free. No image to maintain, no perfect family to protect, just truth." I thought about that. "Yeah, I guess I am." "Then let's use it." Maggie leaned forward. "Start a new sermon series. Real marriage. Not the highlight reel, the actual work. Ask other couples to share their struggles. Make this place about honesty, not performance." "Maggie, I just got divorced." "Exactly. You're the perfect person to lead it. Because you're not pretending anymore." Tuesday, Becca called. I almost didn't answer, but Emma was there, and she nodded at me. "Answer it." "David." Becca's voice was small, broken. "I signed the papers. Tyler has them." "Okay. I'm moving to Seattle. My sister's there. She's helping me figure things out." "The baby?" Silence. Then, Marcus and his wife, Jennifer. They came to see me yesterday. They brought photo albums, showed me their home, their lives. They're good people, David. Better than I deserve. "No one deserves to have their mistakes raised by someone else," I said. "But that baby deserves a stable home. If Marcus is offering that, I'm choosing adoption. Full legal adoption. Open, I'll get pictures, updates, but they'll be the parents." She started crying. "I'm so sorry, David, for everything. For wasting your life, for destroying Emma's faith, for—" "Becca," I cut her off. "I forgive you, not because you deserve it, not because it doesn't hurt, but because I can't carry this anger anymore. It's too heavy. I don't deserve your forgiveness. No, you don't, but I'm giving it anyway, because that's what grace means." She cried harder. "I loved you. I did. I got lost. And I didn't know how to find my way back. I know. Will Emma talk to me?" I looked at my daughter. She was listening, tears in her eyes. She shook her head. "Not yet," I said. "Give her time." Okay. Becca's voice steadied. "Tell her I love her, and I'm sorry I ruined the example she needed." "I will." She hung up. Emma collapsed into my arms. "I'm not ready to forgive her yet." "That's okay, sweetheart. Forgiveness isn't a light switch. It's a process." "How did you do it? Forgive her so fast?" "I didn't. I said the words, meaning them will take longer." Wednesday evening. My mother came over, Sarah Mitchell, 68 years old. White hair, sharp eyes. Widow for 15 years. My father died of a heart attack while preaching. She'd been sitting in the front row, watched him collapse mid-sermon. She'd loved him, still wore her ring, still talked about him in present tense sometimes. She set a casserole on my counter, chicken and rice, the kind she'd made every Wednesday when I was growing up. "You look terrible," she said. "Thanks, Mom." "Good. You should look terrible. Your wife of 23 years betrayed you. You're allowed to look like hell." She poured 2 cups of coffee, sat across from me at the kitchen table. "Your father," she said, "was gone a lot too. Conferences, hospital visits, mission trips. I was alone with you boys more than I was with him." I'd never heard this before. "Mom, let me finish. There were times I was so lonely I thought I'd lose my mind. Times I was angry at God for calling him to ministry. Times I wondered if anyone would notice if I just left." "Did you?" "No, but I thought about it. And I'm not going to lie to you and say I was tempted by another man, because I wasn't. But I understand the loneliness. I understand what it feels like to be married to someone who's married to their calling." She reached across the table, took my hand. "Your father would be so proud of you." "Mom, my marriage just fell apart. Because you chose truth over image. That's real integrity. The church needs broken leaders who tell the truth, not perfect ones who lie." She squeezed my hand. "Son, your father and I had hard seasons too. There was a year, when you were 12, we almost divorced. He'd had an emotional affair with a woman in the congregation. Never physical, but close. My world tilted. Dad?" We went to counseling. We chose each other. We rebuilt. But David, the difference between your father and you is this. He kept it hidden, covered it up, lived with the guilt for 20 years. It probably contributed to his heart attack. Tears were running down her face now. You didn't do that. You exposed the lie. You stood in front of 5,000 people and said, "This is broken and I won't pretend it's not." That takes more courage than staying married ever could. I was crying too. I don't feel courageous. I feel destroyed. That's because integrity costs. But the cost of pretending is higher. Your father paid it with his health. Becca's paying it with her reputation. You're paying it with your marriage. But David, you get to rebuild. On truth this time. She stood, hugged me. I buried my face in her shoulder like I was 10 years old. The Mitchell name doesn't mean perfect, she whispered. It means honest, even when it costs everything. Sarah redefined integrity for me that day. If someone in your life has done that for you, helped you see your worst moment differently, tell me about them in the comments. We all need people who can reframe our failures into growth. And if this story moved you, if David's choice to rebuild on truth instead of image resonated, subscribe. I tell stories about people who choose honesty over appearance. I'll see you in the next one. The next 6 weeks were a blur. Tyler filed the divorce papers. Becca moved to Seattle. Marcus and his wife Jennifer started adoption proceedings. Emma went back to Dallas Baptist University, but called every night. Ryan tried to sue for wrongful termination. The case was dismissed. Moral clauses are standard in the church employment contracts. Last I heard, he was working IT at a startup. Blacklisted from ministry work in Texas. The congregation split, not evenly. A survey went out 3 weeks after my confession. The board wanted to know, should Pastor David Mitchell remain as lead pastor? 87% voted yes. 13% voted no or abstained. Some of the 13% left. Started attending other churches. I understood. I'd shattered their image of pastoral marriage. That's not easy to get past. But the 87% stayed, and more than stayed, they opened up. The Real Marriage series Maggie suggested became the most attended sermon series in our church's history. Couples stood up and shared struggles, infidelity, addiction, money problems, parenting failures, things we'd never talked about before because we were all too busy pretending to be perfect on Sundays. We stopped performing, started being real, and the church grew, not in numbers, not at first, but in depth, in honesty, in actual community instead of curated image. Emma came home for Thanksgiving. Brought Marcus, her fiancé, not the sound engineer. Her fiancé Marcus was a different Marcus, which was going to be confusing forever. She was different, older, sadder, but also stronger. I talked to Mom, she said over dinner. Yeah, she's showing, 6 months now. Marcus and Jennifer sent her ultrasound photos. They're having a girl. My granddaughter, technically, biologically, but not really. A child I'd never meet, never hold. The daughter Becca and I never had, born from her affair with another man. Are you okay? I asked Emma. I'm learning to be. Dr. Hartman, the counselor you recommended, she's helping. Emma looked at her fiancé. And Marcus is being patient. We're postponing the wedding just 6 months, until I'm ready. Smart, I said. We're building it differently, Dad. Our marriage, communication first, presence. We're doing premarital counseling, the real kind, where they ask hard questions. Good, that's really good, sweetheart. She smiled, small but real. I'm proud of you for what it's worth. It was worth everything. December 24th, Christmas Eve, the biggest service of the year, 5,000 people expected, parking lot attendants hired, extra sound equipment, the service that defined whether we'd have a good year or not, attendance-wise. I stood backstage, could hear the worship team warming up. The new worship leader, Kelly Chen, Maggie's daughter, 25 years old, was nervous, her first major service. She'd be fine, better than fine. She had her mother's steady confidence. Emma was there. She'd come home from college early, insisted on being there. You look good, Dad, she said. I checked my reflection, gray at the temples, lines around my eyes, 10 pounds lighter than I'd been in September, the physical cost of the last 3 months, but my eyes were clearer. Less performance, more peace. No ring, Emma noted. I looked at my left hand. The white stripe was fading, tan filling in where platinum used to be, the skin healing. No ring, I agreed. Are you ready? I think so. Are you? She nodded. I'm going to help thee hand out programs. I want people to see me, to see that I chose you. My throat tightened. Thank you, sweetheart. The worship set began. I could hear it through the walls. Oh, come all ye faithful. 5,000 voices, loud, joyful, real. Maggie knocked. 5 minutes, Pastor. Thanks, Maggie. She hesitated. David, there's someone here. In the third row, Marcus Webb and his wife. They brought the baby. My heart stopped. What? Marcus said he wanted you to meet her, if you're willing, after the service. No pressure. I thought about it. The baby, Becca's daughter, Marcus's daughter, the child that ended my marriage, the innocent life at the center of this mess. Yeah, I said. I'd like that. The service was perfect, not performance perfect, real perfect. Kelly led worship beautifully, nervous but authentic. The congregation sang loud, families everywhere, kids in Christmas pajamas, teenagers on their phones, grandparents crying during silent night. I walked onto the stage, no notes. I'd stopped using notes after the confession. Couldn't hide behind them anymore. Emma was in the lobby, handing out programs. I could see her through the glass doors, smiling, choosing me. And in the third row, right side, Marcus Webb sat with his wife. And in Jennifer's arms, wrapped in a pink blanket, was a 3-month-old baby girl, my granddaughter who wasn't. I gripped the pulpit, the same pulpit where I'd removed my ring 11 weeks ago, the same pulpit where I'd preached lies I believed. Christmas, I said, is about God choosing to enter a messy situation, a teen pregnancy, a scandalous beginning, whispers and rumors and reputations destroyed. The congregation settled, listening. Mary didn't get a perfect story, neither did Joseph. They got the truth, complicated, painful, but ultimately redemptive. And that's what I want to talk about tonight. I looked at Emma, at Marcus and Jennifer, at the empty seat where Becca would have stood. 11 weeks ago, I stood here and told you my marriage was over, that I'd been preaching about something I thought I had but didn't, that I'd built a testimony on a lie I believed. My voice was steady, strong, no shame anymore, just truth. Some of you thought I should have kept it private. Maybe you were right, but I made a choice that day. I chose honesty over image, truth over performance. And I'm standing here tonight because 87% of you chose grace over judgment. Applause, not loud, just steady, supportive. This year, our family fell apart. My wife is in Seattle. Our daughter had to choose which parent to stand beside. A baby was born from betrayal. Nothing about this is clean. I paused. Let that land. But here's what I've learned. We built this on a lie, Becca and I. We built a marriage that looked perfect but was hollow. Perfect on Sundays, empty on Mondays. The motif. Transformed now. Complete. But you, I gestured to the congregation, you voted to rebuild with me, not on the lie of perfection, but on the truth that we're all broken. That's a stronger foundation. I looked at the third row, at Marcus and Jennifer. In that third row is a man named Marcus Webb. He made a mistake. One night, one choice. But he's here because he chose responsibility over running. He and his wife are raising a baby girl that could have been a reminder of shame. They're making her a testimony of redemption instead. Marcus looked shocked that I'd mentioned him. Jennifer was crying. That's what Christmas is. God entering our mess, not cleaning it up first, but showing up anyway, and making something beautiful out of what was broken. I took a breath. So, if you're here tonight and your life is messy, if your marriage is struggling, if your past is complicated, if you're holding secrets you're afraid will destroy you, I want you to know, this church is safe for truth. We're done performing. We're done pretending. We're just going to be real, broken, honest, and see what God can build from that. The service ended with Joy to the World, 5,000 voices. Emma came back in from the lobby, stood beside me during the final song, not where Becca used to stand. That spot stayed empty. Emma stood next to me as my daughter, not filling a role, just being present. After the service, after the crowd thinned, Marcus approached, Jennifer beside him, the baby asleep in her arms. "Pastor David," Marcus said, nervous, "I'm so sorry for everything. I know sorry doesn't—" "Let me see her," I said. Jennifer stepped forward, pulled back the pink blanket. Dark hair, tiny fists, Becca's nose. Maybe my eyes, genetics are funny that way. Could be anyone's eyes. "Her name's Hope," Jennifer said softly. "We named her Hope. Of course they did." "She's beautiful," I said, and meant it. "Thank you for bringing her, and for raising her, for choosing love over fear." "We're grateful for the chance," Marcus said. "And Pastor, what you said tonight, about showing up anyway, that meant everything." They left. I watched them go. A little family built from wreckage. Emma stood beside me. "You okay?" "Yeah, I really am." Later that night, Emma and I sat in my living room, tree lights glowing, silence comfortable. "I talked to Marcus today," Emma said. "My Marcus. We set a new wedding date, June 15th. "That's great, sweetheart." I told him we're building our marriage differently, not like you and Mom had, but like you taught me through this. "What do you mean?" She turned to face me. "My parents built theirs on a lie, but you showed me what integrity actually costs. Real on Mondays. That's what I want, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard." I pulled her close. "That's all I wanted to teach you." "You did, Dad. You really did." We sat there, father and daughter, survivors of a family implosion, rebuilding on truth. The Mitchell name doesn't mean perfect. It means honest, even when it costs everything. 3 months later, the adoption was finalized. Marcus and Jennifer sent me a photo. Hope, 6 months old, smiling. Becca got the same photo. We'd never speak about it, but we both knew that little girl was our shared consequence, and she was loved. Emma got married in June. Simple ceremony. I walked her down the aisle. The empty seat beside me during the vows was noticeable, but Emma didn't seem to see it. She only saw Marcus, her Marcus, and the future they were building, honest, present, real. The church continued to grow, not in performance, in depth. The Real Marriage series became an annual event. Couples from other churches started visiting. They had heard about the pastor who took off his ring on stage, who chose truth over image. And slowly, so slowly I almost didn't notice, I started healing. The divorce finalized in January. I was single at 43, hadn't dated in 23 years, didn't know how, wasn't ready to try, but I was free, free from pretending, free from performance, free to be broken and honest and still worthy of love. We built this on a lie, that old version of my life, the perfect family, the model marriage, the testimony that inspired thousands. But we're rebuilding it on truth now. Messy, complicated, painful sometimes, but real. And real is stronger than perfect could ever be.